I do this a lot with exercise. There's times where I like dread exercise. I'm just like doing stuff. I'm like not in the mood. And I think it's worth like sharing this because this is my life's work. And like exercise to me is one of the most transformative things out there. And there's still times where like I just don't feel like it at all. But when I focus on how I will feel after, it's a lot easier to get started. So
Absolutely.
focus on the outcome, not the task itself.
Hello, Adam, once again, and as always, it's a pleasure to be here. Wait. I have a question for you. Do you hear that?
I don't. What am I listening for?
Exactly.
Ooh.
Exactly. The kids are back in school. It was today. We did it. We made it. Which, listen, if you're in the South, you're probably like, what? We've been in school almost a month.
Yeah.
But yeah, we don't get out of school till the end of June. So, but yeah, finally they went back and, so begins the hamster wheel. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Although the school year, I don't know, man. I always get so sad. It's just like another grade, another year passed by.
I know.
My kid started last week, so I went through all the feels.
Yeah.
Because now my son, my older one, is in middle school for the first time, so they're not in the same school anymore. So it's a whole thing. But yes, it is in the beginning. Can be the start of that hamster wheel feeling.
Yeah, which we're going to get to. But first, we made a promise last week, and thank you to all of those who tuned in last week and then sent us your email about what it was you tried to remove from your habitual behavior. Did I get that right? That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
We got some good ones.
So we did have some really good ones. But this week, Adam, you promised we were going to talk about adding something in. So why don't you fill us in on that challenge?
Yes. So this week is all about addition. Instead of taking away something, instead of not doing something, I want you to start doing something that you don't normally do. It could be going for a little walk in the afternoon. It could be including or having fruit prepped after dinner so you can just start eating it. Something that will benefit your health and fitness, something that will make you feel good before, during, and after for your health and fitness. It could be anything from exercise related, nutrition related, but something along those lines.
Bedtime. Sleep related.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Anything along those lines. But I want you to try doing something that you don't normally do this week and let us know what it is. That is your challenge for this week. And although this is usually how we end the videos, this is very much the start of it.
And with good reason, because I also think, like we mentioned, the hamster wheel of routine, though every beginning of a school year is a new school year. For example, for you and your oldest son, right? Like you're going to middle school. I don't know about you guys, but our buses to the middle school, high school come much earlier than the elementary school bus. So, when that routine started, even though it felt routine, it was new, right? And every new school year, there's something new we're to contend with. And you taught me this, Adam. When there's new in the air, the brain kind of like ripens for getting in and reprogramming or making additions or removing things. So I think this is a great way to start this video. We're challenging the listeners to identify something they want to add in that they don't normally do. And if you've got kids going back to school, this is a great time to make use of the raw brain, the brain that's going, wait, what?
Yes, your brain is forming new associations, new patterns. You want to take advantage of it because it'll stick. The likelihood of it sticking are much greater.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So good. We've talked about the addition. The challenge this week is adding something you don't normally do that benefits your health and fitness. And then we talked about the raw, ripe brain. But we really want to talk about practice because all this is going to take some practice, right? Like practice getting up.
And I love practice. And, I just said, this time of year when there's change in the air, it is likely to increase the chances of something sticking. But the accelerator on that, the thing that is the massive unlock that really ensures change sticks is practice. Practice
Hmm.
is where it's at. And I think it's worth diving into what practice is. So
Okay.
my kids love basketball. They love playing it. They love practicing it. But something I've reminded them of recently, or maybe taught them recently, is if what you're doing feels easy, that's not practice, that is playing, right? So, one of the most important things in basketball is to be able to be strong with your non dominant hand. So, if you're a righty, it's a lot easier to dribble with your right hand. You really want to be able to dribble with your left hand. And most people, when they're playing around, they're quote unquote practicing, they're just doing things they know how to do, and it's typically with their strong hand. So I told them, like, if what you're doing feels easy, that's not practice, that is playing. There's absolutely nothing wrong with playing. Go for it, have fun. But if you're trying to get better, which they want to get better, then you need to practice. And practice feels messy, it feels uncomfortable, there's lots of mistakes, but it is doing something that you're not excellent at yet, that you're not, good at yet. It's you're learning, right? That is the point of
Hmm.
practice.
Yes. Yes. Frustration is such a key indicator that you're in practice mode. Like, my son has taken up skateboarding, and for the life of him, he just wants to do a flip and ollie. He just, he gets out there and over and over and over again, and he gets so frustrated. Sometimes I'm like, this is great. This is great. You're almost there. I said, the only difference between somebody who can't do an ollie and someone who can, the person who can never quit. And they
Yes.
practiced their head off. They
Yes.
practiced even though they were super frustrated. Be frustrated and keep going, kid.
Right. I mean, that is where the magic happens. And I think on some level we all know this,
Yeah.
but when we're in it, it's so easy to just be like, let's get back to what we know. Let's get back to what's comfortable. Let's get back, the old better the devil we know.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think talking about this before we're in that moment of practice, whatever we want to practice, makes it easier to get through it because it's like the old, if you can name it, you can tame it. So next time
Mhm.
when you're practicing something and you feel frustrated, when you're like, oh, this is driving me nuts, like that is when the magic happens.
Yes. And I think something else, and we were going to bring this up anyway, but I think it really pairs nicely. When you're in that moment of frustration, it's a great time to remind yourself this feeling I'm having tells me I'm practicing something new that I'm not good at, which then means I'm going to get something different for it. I'm going to
Yes.
change. My outcomes will be different. And if it's not enough to embrace the fact that frustration means practice and that you're doing well there, it will feel like enough to remind yourself like, this just means I'm going to make some changes. Like I feel like I've had this conversation recently with a lot of clients. They're definitely in practice mode and definitely feeling frustrated and I'm like, "Good. What does this mean?" And they all say, "Oh, right. This is what I want to be doing and it means I'm doing it differently and my outcomes are going to change."
Right.
And when they remind themselves of that, Adam, practice isn't a question. Of course I'm going to keep practicing.
Right. I mean, do you always done, get the same outcome, do something differently, you get a different outcome.
Yep.
And
Yep.
there is one benefit, by the way, of practice being uncomfortable. The more uncomfortable something is, it's called cognitive disfluency. The more uncomfortable it is, the more likely it is to stick. Right?
Mhm.
Easy come, easy go. If you're learning a new skill and it's easy, A, it's probably not all that valuable, but B, it's likely to we're probably going to lose it as well. So when you
Yeah.
work towards something, when you work to learn something, and you eventually acquire it, you're much more likely to keep it and retain it.
Yes. Learning to ride a bicycle is a prime example.
Yes. So, as a good reminder, practice is messy, it's frustrating. There's all sorts of words we can use to describe it, but it is where the magic is. And if you do the practice long enough, that practice becomes routine. And if you do the routine long enough, it becomes habit. And Here's a little hot take, but it drives me crazy, or maybe this isn't a hot take, but it's just a take. It drives me crazy when people say I fell out of the habit. You don't just stop brushing your teeth, right? You don't just like fall out of the habit of brushing your teeth or like bathing. Like that, those are habits, but you don't fall out of the habit. The problem is people don't stick with it long enough until it is a habit.
Yeah.
So
they fell out of the practice.
Exactly. And you got to stick with the practice. Then you do the routine. The routine, you're getting warmer and warmer. You're getting close. And you do the routine long enough, then it truly becomes habitual.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. The habit, you've made habit land when it's like you don't question.
Right.
There's just not a question.
And it almost feels weird when you don't do it.
Yes. Yes.
Right. I mean, we hear this all the time from clients where they're used to feeling full after eating, and that is for them a comfortable feeling. And then eventually they tell us, wow, like feeling light feels wonderful, and now feeling full feels awful, and they don't like that feeling. But before, when they're first starting out, they can't imagine not feeling full because that's a comfortable feeling.
Yep. Yep.
So this actually leads us into the next thing I want to bring up, and it's just something I've been thinking about. And I think one way to kind of hack getting things done, health and fitness related, or really anything, is imagine your brain could only focus on the outcome of doing something, right? So you have a lot going on. You don't feel like exercising. You're not thinking about that. You're only thinking about how satisfied and accomplished you're going to feel post-exercise. Or you're not in the mood to cook or prep something. You're not thinking about that. You're only focused on how wonderful it's going to be to have a beautiful meal in front of you and how great you'll feel during and after eating it. Or you even have a work-related task that needs to get done. You kind of been dreading it. You're not focusing on that. You're focusing on how great it's going to feel to get it done and move the needle forward. So one thought is, if you could allow yourself to, instead of only focus on the task, try to focus on the outcome instead. And whenever you start focusing on the task, oh, this, I have to do that, like snap out of it or try to, and focus on the outcome. This happens. I do this a lot with exercise. There's times where I dread exercise. I'm just doing stuff. I'm not in the mood. And I think it's worth sharing this because this is my life's work. And exercise to me is one of the most transformative things out there. And there's still times where I just don't feel like it at all. But when I focus on how I will feel after, it's a lot easier to get started. So Focus on the outcome, not the task itself.
And the outcome being the feelings you get for having followed through on that task you didn't want to do. That
right.
100%, I tell clients all the time, chase that feeling. We want to get hooked on that outcome feeling.
Right.
Right? Because if you learn to chase the feeling of following through, what you get for following through, it makes the task so much simpler.
Right. So next time there's something in front of you that you want to get done but you don't feel like doing, try to have blinders on and imagine you could just not think about the task at hand, just focus on how you're going to feel after. It's a really powerful exercise that can really help you push through that discomfort.
Yep. Let's add one more tool to the bag. We love this tool. It's super helpful, and I think it's helpful with this as well. If you're struggling with even knowing what that outcome feeling would be, right? Slap that old task on the discomfort scale.
I love the discomfort scale because I think it helps us give us perspective, and perspective is what we need, right? Perspective helps us make sense of things. And the discomfort scale is very simple, very simple. Let's have the discomfort scale of 0 to 100. 0 is getting dressed in the morning. Let's say 100 is running a marathon. I think it's helpful to take a look at the task at hand and say, where does this fall on the discomfort scale? And when you really think about it, it's often very, very low on the actual discomfort scale. So examples could be logging your food. Where does that fall on the actual discomfort scale? Or prepping some food. Where does that actually fall on the discomfort scale? There's a million examples, but I think when you take the time and think about how hard is this actually? How uncomfortable is this actually? You're all right, you know what? That's not so bad at all. The monster is never as scary as it seems. I can do this. Yeah.
And I would encourage those of you who are interested in the discomfort scale, even nerd out a little bit and get you a piece of paper, turn it landscape. I'm serious. draw the line, put your 0, put your 100, and you define what your 0 and your 100 are. 100's the horrible discomfort, right? Like, and your 0 is like Adam said, like putting clothes on, maybe just like, whatever. And define some points of discomfort. And anytime you run into something that makes you feel uncomfortable, look at that sheet of paper and it will help to orient you. I don't know. I like kind of doing nerdy stuff like that. Plus, like, it's good to have like an actual visual reminder, right? Let me pull out my discomfort scale.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. And it really helps you put forth the effort required and you realize, you know what? It's not that big a deal.
Yeah, for sure. So listen, the other thing we talked about, Adam, before we hit record here was the fact that this space, September, October, it's kind of that peaceful, quiet time, right? Like the kids are back in school, we're picking up routines, we're adding in something new that we don't normally do. We're focusing on feelings and outcomes, and we're using the discomfort scale. But this is a really precious time before the chaos of, comes to call.
Yes, we won't say the H word yet. It's, we're not going to put out the decorations on our show just
I put
yet.
on my blinders in the store. I'm like, no.
I mean, it's like, come on, guys, it's September.
It was up in August.
I know, it's insane. Yes, because it's interesting. There's people who are like, oh, the living is easy in the summer. I don't have routine. Like, I don't do well. I need structure and routine. And then there's those who, once they have that routine and structure, it's like, it's too hard. Like, there's never a perfect time. No. There really is never a perfect time. You can't only practice this stuff when it's sunny and 70. I put that in quotes. Like, that's my expression for just like when everything is quote unquote perfect.
Getting a shirt that says that.
We'll get
I just
some
want it to be sunny and 70.
We'll just get some merch going. So like now is a great time to practice this stuff before things really ramp up. And it's also, as we said, this is a great time to form new practices and to try new things because your brain is ripe for this stuff right now. You're forming new associations, new neural pathways, and let's take advantage of this. This is an exciting time.
Totally is. And it's quiet.
I think we covered a lot of good stuff. What's that?
I said, unless you have animals.
Yeah.
Which I do. Yes, we did cover a lot of good stuff. This is a great, okay, here we go. Into September, back to school for a lot of us. And listen, it might not be back to school for some people, and that's okay too. Like, come along with us.
Right. Right. I do think even so, like whether you have kids or not, like whether your kids have been in school for a little bit, like there is something, I mean, it's, change of seasons too, right? So that's always a great time to focus on things like this.
Definitely. All right, guys, if you were tuning in with us, you have your challenge this week. We're going to add in something you've not typically done before.
Let us know what it is.
Know what it is. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, sorry. I just wanted to.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right.
I was all excited to say that.
He's very excited. You must let him know what it is that you add.
Yes. We talked about practice, what it is, how messy it is.
And how to know when you're doing it. I think that's important. Like 100%. Celebrate the heck out of the fact that you're going to get super frustrated and make a mess.
Yes. Yes.
I'm practicing.
We talked about how this is a great time to reset routines. We talked about new way potentially to think about getting things done. Focus on the outcome, not the task. And we talked about the discomfort scale.
I like it. If you guys want to send us an email picture of your discomfort scale.
Ooh, I love that.
I think that would be awesome. That's a bonus challenge.
Bonus challenge.
Cool. All right, guys, that's all we've got this week. We'll be back next week. And until then, take good care. See you next time.